Hold on a second. My other way I was alive didn't really work. It was messed up. Excellent. Got the screens up. So, hey, I just wanted to jump on because it's Monday and it's a great day to get on. There's a lot of things happening. I was going to get Frank on here a little while ago, but he was busy looking for his keys. And I wasn't going to be on very long because it's me and my wife's anniversary, Melissa's anniversary. She's a rock star. And we've 16 years she's put up with me since I've been in trucking like going on 18, so that's 2 years with her before she decided to get crazy. You know, we have a lot of things going on in the group. I'm gonna do a hey, what's up, Ryan? Yo, yo, yo. All right, we got people rolling in everywhere. Everywhere. William Triplet's not in jail, so that's cool. Man, it's crazy because it's everything's so weird with all the new authorities came in, all the trucking industry. Learning to get. We have Broker Week coming up next week, and a lot of you guys that are new to the videos or you haven't seen it, what's up, Shay? Hey, thank you. She put up with me that long. That's like knocking on wood, and I got plenty of that in my head, solid. As otherwise, but um, it's pretty crazy. We were out riding them over sunburn and stuff, man. It's so nice out. People are traveling, things are going on, campgrounds are full. It's also in this industry. It's weird because the first 3 months or the first 2 months the first quarter, everything was great. Then we had a war happen. China shut its doors. All these countries have been locked down. Ports are still busy because they were backed up, and a lot of different crazy things happening. It goes back to those 180,000 authorities that we had come into the industry in a while back. I just want to come on and ask, what is your guys' plan? I'm working on this. I have a broker webinar coming up next week, and I've been talking with ecarriercheck.com, Jared over there like crazy. We keep bouncing ideas back and forth. And I'm really going to start taking my broker training on Wednesdays to a whole new level because I think I think the biggest thing about this industry is the impulse and the lack of education. I've been saying that for like years with Frank, and especially me. This with this coming on 2023 coming up. This is 14 years of me helping carriers and teaching. And it's really cool having some of them in the class. You know what I mean? And I sit here in my office and I'm sitting here today working on freight sales and I actually getting customers and practicing what I preach. And we got some new things in the work that we're going to be doing now that everything keeps changing because even my plan changes, man. I got friends one day, friends the next. Agendas change. People want money. All these different things going on. But in the market right now, it's scary because in every group you go to, people have a lot of money on the line. Their businesses are on the line. They were in one field like fracking, hauling sand, or doing bulk, or cars, or drive-in, or maybe Ford was their customer the last 2 years, and everything's changing. And Frank made a good point this morning. And as of my previous relationships separating, the friends I think the internet's going slow with friends because it's amazing how business and money and everything changes, man. Agendas change, my agenda changes, their agenda changes. Ever since I've started this for a long time, I've always been for the trucking company or for the broker. It's like wearing multiple hats because one time you're teaching a broker, next time you're teaching a carrier, then the two together you're teaching them both the control carriers. It's really freaking weird when you're playing all these different sides of the fences and you have a friend on this side and a friend on that side, and then everybody gets butt hurts. Everybody gets hey, thanks, Bob. Everybody gets their butt hurt, and really when it comes down to it, it's just like when Bob calls me, if he wanted help, I would help him. If Bob needed carriers, I'd help him. But at the same time, I won't she says, I'm taking my truck back today. I hear that so many times right now, people just quitting and quitting and quitting. And I just don't understand. You come into a market 2 years ago and you expected what you expect. If you had a real business plan of diversity, knowing how to get customers as a carrier, see, everybody thinks my broker class next week is just about carriers and it's our brokers. And it's not about brokers. It's about carriers and brokers understanding how to work together. Oh, she's changing her plan. Okay. I wasn't saying you're changing your plan. I'm talking about people having a plan, right? Or you're quitting. I'm just saying people that jumped in. Imagine how many people that jumped in and did the renting thing. You know how many people call me that have less than 600 credit score and they're trying to do stuff, do these different things with their business plans. And I keep asking them, what are you going to do? Like right now, you think about it, right? Brokers, for the like not in the last the last quarter or this last 2 months. But before that, brokers were getting their ass handed to them by every trucking company in the world. They have to give it up because the demand was in the favor of the carriers. But now brokers that don't have trucks, they're in control and they don't have trucks. They do not have trucks. Me and Frank have been talking about it. They do not have trucks. And a lot of the brokers that really need trucks because of their manpower, right? A broker, maybe their size isn't big enough. Maybe it is. There is, maybe they only have 3 or 4 employees. Maybe they don't want to grow so fast. It's just like a trucking company that only has 20 trucks, right? A trucking company only has 20 trucks. They're not no bigger than 20 trucks. The only way they can become bigger than 20 trucks is to either add more trucks or become a broker to go after customers. So I mean, yeah, I've been thinking about this for a long time, and Frank's been yelling at me forever. I'm sunburned like crazy. That's why I got the tank top on. It's a cool tank top, though, right? You got the Scooby Doo on it and stuff. Uh, you know, uh, Networking and have a plan is so important. And just like brokers is one of our 3 weeks. And it's for carriers is so important because brokers can't do shit without trucks. Some reason it's been meant out here that they're the almighty savior from day one. And if you don't have brokers, you can't make it. And I just think that's all wrong. I totally think it's all wrong because there's so many businesses in your own backyard, starting with industrial parks to manufacturing, to the trucking companies, our customers with their own trucks, to the places to sell trailers, trying to get them in right now, to everybody down to the carnival guys that are shipping carnivals. How do they move in their stuff? All these different places, right? They need to have trucks, and the power of it is a broker has to have relations with carriers, or they're just selling rates. And when the rates are up, they make money. When the rates are down, they don't. Otherwise, it's 100% about relationship. Well, brokers only work with customers, right? The brokers have to have customers. They don't have no trucks, right? So the trucks are the carriers. So unless you have a big power like Coyote or somebody big, or where you can put a bunch of people in office and the system and the logistics, and you can make that happen. A lot of us don't have that, and we're starving. Not trying to distract you, but I tried looking up your classes and can't find them. My driver was trying to take control of my business and take advantage of the fact that I lost my husband. I want to make the most of this and carry on his dream. I just knew heavy haul. That's what we did. I don't want someone tearing up his truck. Yeah, we talked about all that. I love to help you. So my classes, Shanda, are at shaggyconsulting.com. 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 And they start next Monday. I'll put it in the chat. And this week coming up is going to be really different because we're going to have the normal broker class from 6 to like 9:30. And then we're going to be go to the boot camp part, hit the registration, go to the boot camp, click the tab, see the dates, and then put it in the cart. And you'll be able to see my classes. They start May 16th, and then there's May 30th, and then we got June 13th. Jesse says he's making it happy. Yeah, Jesse's getting ready to put on his first owner operator. So we're going to get into that too, about having a plan. So that's like with being a carrier right now. So many people every day. People keep talking. I see them keep posting. God, I mean, it almost makes you want to quit nowadays. And I know there's a lot of people that say, go right ahead and do it. But I mean, I think about all these classes. Like literally, I was on Tumblr, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, and you keep looking at the same thing over and over in all these classes. You don't see I mean, you see people like, and then you got the other people out there. I see some other groups out there like, oh, they're exposing all the people. But really, people don't even want to tell you about doing the work. I've been sitting in here for like almost 2 weeks now, and I've rewrote my sales training thing like 2 or 3 times, like the advanced training, and I went through all these details, and I'm doing it in a dumb person. Remember, I'm a dumbass. I am an eighth grade dropout, no education. Hell, I have to use spell check like crazy because the only thing I know how to do is back it up with my work ethic or my selling. Being available from 8 o'clock in the morning, and the cells that I know from the history of experience of how freight moves, where we sit at docks and how things go, and the cost of living and the operations and what it's like to pay drivers and all this stuff. It helps me go sell. I'm not scared. I really don't have nothing to lose. Even if I'm in a phone call with a broker or a carrier, it's my job, or a customer, it's my job to find as much as I can. They answer the phone and let talk to me, but try to stay on track here. All right. So it's so important in broker week to know as carriers. I think so many carriers are limiting themselves because they don't know how to sell. You don't. You don't know how to ask for the service. You don't know where to start. And you think because you're one or two trucks, everybody's made this industry in your head, think that you can't go get freight. But what freight will you get? Or do you really have the confidence to talk? Are you really comfortable with those calls? Do you really need somebody to do the real calls with you? And are you prepared to do the calls in the first place as a trucking company? You know what I mean? Like, have you done the research? Do you really know the lanes and the freight that you really want to haul for those guys? You know what I mean? Just like I was talking about the other day. If you were a carrier and you wanted customers, or you wanted brokers that really didn't want to use the low board. Now you got to remember, in this world, there's two kinds of people. There's people that want to use low boards. There's people that want to freight chase. There's people that want to go home, never to go home. There's people that like being broke when it's good or when it's bad, and like talking about how they make money when it's good. And there's people that are going to fall out of business because they can't back up the money because they thought because they grew big enough, they would still be a resource using the brokers and the load boards that they were using. But now they're all going to go out of business and they can't back up what they're preaching, and all their numbers are going to shit, and they're hoping it stops tomorrow, but it's not, because China, all those big countries over there, and Japan have been closed down for like a month or two. You guys don't even hear this on the news. So we're caught up with Ukraine, the war, the oil blockade, all the sanctions being put on. Well, that does affect imports coming in and things that are happening. Plus COVID's out there, or whatever they want to call it this time in these countries. If you go through the stores and you look, a lot of stuff's not being shipped in, and the ports are still busy to a point in certain places because they're getting caught up still. When all those trucks start pouring back, when all that freight starts pouring back in, will you be able to survive until then? Because it's not going to be tomorrow. It's not going to be the next day. It's not even going to be that. It's going to take, then you still take the short staffing and no employees because people haven't gone back to work and all this good stuff going on. And now it's summertime. But you look at it. Everything's being bought as soon as it gets there. Stuff's still out of stock. Fucking vacation. Call a campground right now for the next year and try to get your ass in a campground. What about all that stuff? All these commodities are still pouring in. But when will you step up as a carrier or a broker and really learn how to set it up the right way? That there's more than just paperwork, more than just the fucking TMS, more than just the software and ThomasNet, LinkedIn. You guys, diesel is high and the rates are low. The rates are low because of supply and demand and no relationship. I mean, you even talked about how you used to go for customers. So obviously, you know that you can get customers. We just talked. You're only a couple trucks back then. It's the customers that are there. You don't always have to give out the truck. You have trucks. It's all about the product, guys. It always comes out of product. Everybody thinks it's service. Your service is part of the product, but the product is what sells. The product is what you guys have. The local, the dedicated, the regional. How will a broker or a customer, if you're a carrier right now, I keep asking this all the time. Most people that are in this business, listened to this the other day, you guys have a 2-day plan. Just like you guys have a 2 to 4 year plan on which election happens. Will we be Republican or Democrat? Will they pass this law or not? Don't lie. You guys don't think that far out. Most people starting their business today wouldn't think past 2 or 3 days or a week. Or if your truck broke down tomorrow or the driver quit your truck, what would you do? What is your plan? How we stop it? Or the load boards go to shit because you're so caught up. When the money was great, you didn't even take the time to build a network, build relationships, and get off the load board. Now you want to go ask for customers and know how to do it. Me and Frank were just here. We were just in these conversations in 2019 with the same fucking people, and now they went and they did this, or they thought it was easier over here, or they took another free webinar. Shit, I'm in here right now writing. I got like shit. I got 4 days of training right now. I'll read one off. Like I would read it off to you, but everybody was here. But you talk about knowing your area, how you're researching the people close to you first, what big cities and major cities are in the area, what's going on in the cities, how is your type of freight moving though from those cities, who's moving it, what brokers have it, what are those problems, and then how can I get a carrier or to trust me in my first 90 days to be able to even service that customer, and how much would they charge me before I go in. This is the stuff that you have to know as a broker. This whole free for all, I get so tired of going through there, and you guys got thousands of spreadsheets. You're buying all these RFPs. You're talking about 8 months of making phone calls. And then I call you up and say, so if you made a phone call to any of those people 8 months, what lanes are I having a problem with before you call? And do you have trucks for those lanes? And how much would it cost if I even gave it to you on a real list or a real road right now? And tell me you could get it covered in the first fucking 5 minutes before we get off the phone and 40 other people call me because I don't want to be put on hold. You just got lucky and got me. Tell me what you're going to do. How is that any different than a carrier? You are a carrier. Brokers can't move freight. They literally can't control the market. The only ones that are helping the brokers are the mega carriers because they get it. But the funny part is, I know guys that just left my class last week that called mega carriers that do their type of freight direct on their logistics side, and they were getting paid better from the mega carriers than they were from the brokers on the fucking load board. I guess it all comes down to the relationship because you talk to most people that are out there and that are carriers, and you ask them the question about if I was a customer or a broker and I was working a contract that's a week or 3 weeks or 4 weeks or 60 days out. Number one, any time of a 24-hour period, 7 days a week, would I find your carrier? And if I found your carrier, would it tell me what you need? Not so much of the rate, but more the lane that far out, like that far out. Would I be able to offer you the windmill blades, the oversized equipment, the double drops, the scales, the freaking carnival equipment, the power only gigs that are actually through Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Budweiser, and all those other places when they're in the big fleets, when they recycle your trailers? Or are you going to keep finding them from TQL for $100 when they're probably getting marked up 50 to 90% on top, but because they're taking advantage of your laziness and your necessity to do the work, you're getting screwed for nothing. You don't have to be that person. What does a broker, besides doing more volume, have to, when I talk to like all these people I've trained over the last couple of years, like people for ConAgra and all that, Marie and all them, most of the big carriers and big brokers that work for these big customers, they do a horrible job. You just don't take the time to understand the services of the needs of the customers before you waste your time. And you don't do the research. So that goes back to, why would a one truck company want to be in my broker class next week? Well, a one truck company, not only do they need to be in my dispatching, because one-sided dispatching with no plan and no product, you're not going to do it. So first you have to understand how the lanes are, how the brokers are moving, right? How the brokers are moving the freight, because those are lanes. And then you got to figure out how you're going to fit in and do it better with your one truck or your two trucks or three trucks. I get it. Some one truck guys aren't going to do it. Some guys with dispatching services aren't going to ever do it either if you don't start doing the work yourself. I mean, it didn't work for you being an employee for somebody else, and it didn't work in all your other businesses, because that's why you're here in trucking now, and you're still allowing everybody else to fuck with your business with your bad credit scores or your master business degrees and all that stuff. So no one truck trailer or one truck two trailer isn't doomed. The hope, no, because When you get in my classes, we teach about diversity, owner operators, lease purchase, flipping trucks, putting it in a 2 to 10 year plan, carriers selling customers. But see, so when you go to sell a customer, it's the same way. People are too scared to put on owner operators because they think they are the best driver or their company drivers are the best driver. But then you call them up, and the first thing you say is, "Hey man, if your driver was in an accident with Mabel, and how long would you do? What was the first things you do? And how long was your orientation to state the rules for your business, even though you're an employee and you don't even have no rules, but everywhere else you had to have rules. So shouldn't you stick to your own rules to be able to duplicate that to the next people? But you don't. You make them up as you go. So now you have your product up and down, and your compliance and safeties like this, and you wonder why dispatching services are fucking up your drivers and they're quitting, and why owner operators are quitting every time you get one. Well, that's because your orientation takes about 2 hours. Here's the fucking keys and rock and roll. And then you wonder why you can't keep brokers and customers that do provide relationships. And then here's the other thing. Half you guys don't even know that there's 75,000 brokers. If you are constantly calling TQL, Outlaw, Suntech, and these lists of 35 brokers that these people are showing you, even the guy I just joined the group too. It's a it's I can't even think of the name right now. I just joined their group. He's got on one of his posts in his group a list of a shit ton of new brokers that a guy can haul in the first 30 days. Well, let me tell you a secret. Every one of those guys on his list will use you in 30 days, but you better get the asshole spreader and the fucking KY to go with it, because that's what they're going to do to you, especially right now, because they're all rate selling brokers. So then how do we eliminate that again? As a carrier, if you go after a customer, you must be a broker to give the freight to other carriers. Yes, I know everybody still does it the legal way, where they're going to have a claim, or they want to keep money off the top, so they run it through their factoring company and then pay the carrier, hope nothing happens. But the problem is, when there is something going to happen, and it's going to happen. That's why people are going out of business. They're getting in trouble. You know, getting in business, and they're getting into trouble. So one of these days, you got to step up and you got to take control of your business, and you got to understand the right way to do it. How to set the brokerage up in your wife's name, let it sit there on ice. But then you got to understand dispatching too, because when you open your brokerage, even as a trucking company, you don't want to have liability on your trucking company, but you want to utilize your trucking company 100%. But then you want to think about it. If I was a broker and I had really good freight and I worked hard to get it, would I broker to myself when I was brand new? Now, let me think about that for a second. Brand new. That means brand new where didn't know anything, or brand new you're using retarded brokers like TQL that cancel on you, double book on you, Landstar, and all those guys like that all sell a rate and they'll drop a load, customer pulls it. That's how it goes, and they don't care because you're getting 150 to 200 bucks, and your cost of operations is like $14,000 to $2,000 a fucking day, right? So now you got to think about the idea of it. Number one, this freight could be another 13 to 15% on top of what you're getting for. Well, we won't go there, but you learn about. Okay, so you take the freight, get it as a carrier, put it back to the brokerage, depending on how the customer charges, right? So then you got to you get back to the controlling part. Oh, like we just had Michelle Clark use a relative, and she lost a customer she had for 2 years because of the exact same thing. So if you don't bring on people that you control by dispatching or booking both ways, where you're checking 100%, even your own family can fuck up your customer. That's not good. We preach this all the time. That half of us haven't been to family unions in the last, couple years, right? 10 years, 15. When's the last time you've been to a family union? You know what I mean? Now your next step is to do business with your family. So now you think about these customers. How do I get these customers, and how do I grow and maintain them if I can go get them? Sometimes the customers is the easiest part for some people, hardest for others. Getting the trucks is the easiest, but the customers is the problem. So it's like it flips it around a little bit. So anyways, I always get talking winded like that. Like I just ramble and ramble and ramble, and people come in and go. But I just want people to know. So next week we have brokerage, And you need to, when are you guys going to start having a plan? Because it's like right now, it's really fucking survival of the fittest. You know what I mean? Like you get lazy, you start listening to these other people. Hell, we were just talking to Miranda the other day, and she got the guy Dave, and Dave's working once one way. Dave didn't take the classes. He's not that working or posting out. He wants to chase the freight and do these quick pays. Well, that's an endless disaster. Quick pays, go if you got a 2-day orientation, if you're doing quick pays and fuel advances or living off a prepaid fuel card. I mean, and you don't know about like Wex and mom and stop fuel stops that are giving 50 to 80 cents off. If you don't know about routing, if you're staying out over the weekends chasing freight, if your second home is Denver, Laredo, McAllen, Florida, California, Northeast, and that's what you call your second home all the time. If you're actually out there going to places with your dispatchers or your brokers right now, and you're waiting for loads because you're chasing almighty dollar, because that's the only way you can still hold on to the last 2 years. Yeah, that would be why there was like almost 3,000 people revoked today. Literally, shit tons. So, I keep getting on these videos live and I talk to you guys, these groups and out here. And some people think I'm crazy and some people, I've trained like literally thousands of people and built so many business from helping the guys at the TAP program, all those guys. I remember when Justin was fucking at OTR and running around selling windows, broke as fuck. You know what I mean? I remember when Corey didn't even want to open the brokerage and he was getting screwed over by elites. I had to twist his fucking ass. I remember so many carriers and people that I've ran across and taught over the years where you've had to boost them to get into where they're at. All right, let's see. Let's ask you happy anniversary from Shamara, my lucky charma. Hey, and there is customers that give you access to bid on their freight if they don't have dedicated lanes. Man, there's all kinds of ways to do it. Frank talks about it all the time, but most of you guys won't know how to do an RFP or a request for quote or any of those things anyways. We put him in the group in class one time. Frank posted in a group, and the only person that knew how to fill it out right was Matt Ames. That was it. Out of that time, we did a test trial. But everybody's taking these classes, and the whole idea of it is even if you could build those areas, how do you have checks? And there's like you got softwares that are like EDIs where like Dollar General and places like Disney and places like where they put it into a big old portal, and some guys have regular lanes, some of it's all rated, and some loads have deadlines on them and more urgent when they're on there, and some loads we'll just rotate those babies for a month. It just depends, what's going on. It depends on how last minute. None of this freight that you guys see on the load boards, it's unless they're customers jumping on certain loads that they're having problems with that they want another broker to do cheaper, or it's stuff that somebody's already fell out, or it's just fucking leftover shit all anyways that 5 or 6 brokers have, like mulch out of Marcellus, Illinois, fucking lumber and all that stuff like that. It may be paying high right now, but it's still shit, because as soon as those people like that get a chance to screw the brokers, they do, or the brokers are screwing the carrier for the volume, your relationship guys, your brokers, aren't even on the load boards. They haven't been. They don't have to be on the load boards. There's too many carriers right now. So if it takes 3 to 4 months or 5 months for the freight to catch back up with a fuel, or the fuel to drop to catch up with the freight, or vice versa, I totally think it's the opposite. I think the doors are going to get ripped off as soon as everything opens back up. But how long will that be? How long will we sit here before they open up the oil and change stuff and put the money back in our pocket? Protesting's not going to do it. Maybe if you'd have to have hundreds of thousands of trucks like to really do it. It'd have to be like a snowstorm. They went from Michigan all the way down to Florida and stayed there for like 3 weeks, 3 days a week for 3 weeks. It really shut down 44, like 14. And then it needs to be longer than that, because that didn't even do anything. That just decreased it for a moment. Then it always goes back. But see, so if you learned about company trucks, lease purchase, owner operators, getting customers to brokerage, dispatching, and all that stuff, compliance, safety, and all that stuff before you started, and you learned how to keep it for 50 weeks where the grass isn't greener, how to find the right guys and how all this worked before you started, Do you think you'd be in this predicament? Maybe a little bit, because you always have to rely on the load boards and networks some. But when I have so many carriers that have taken my classes that literally are using ecarriercheck.com, and they're not even using load boards, but for one thing, but not to search, just to let people know where they're at. And they're doing it at a multiple levels. Hell, most of you guys think one load board's good or two. That's it. But then again, I keep telling you, most people that we've known over the years aren't out of business. They didn't change their name. Where are their freight? Where are all these people's freight? Are only so many people you can, you limit yourself to 5 or 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different brokers, or 3 or 4 or 5 different customers as you grow, or 3 or 4 customers and so many brokers. But you got to keep networking. You have to be out there. People have to know who you are. They have to see you. They have to know you everywhere and what you're available and what capacity you have. I'm not talking about sending an email out to a bunch of people once a time and saying, hey, our truck's here. People do that a lot. It's great. There's more things that you need to do to keep it going on a consistent basis to help you keep your business intact. And that's why you need to learn sales. Sales is the same product that you're selling owner operators, company drivers, the lease purchase guys, your dispatching carriers, and your customers, unless it's a free for all or freight chasing. That's why you guys are lost. That's why all the stuff that you learn from the person that whoever taught you, you're not confused. Even people I teach get overwhelmed and caught up, and their brain gets so compact with so much that we don't want to do the work. We don't want to make the calls. Maybe it's we don't know how. Maybe it's we just don't know how to talk. Because like when I call people up and shoot the shit with a guy, next thing you know, I'm talking to a dedicated guy above, 2 guys above the guy I originally got the phone to offer me a cheap load. People don't know. I mean, there is other levels to each place that you call. And some don't want none, and some do. Do you ever take the time to do that for your company before you start? Like, or when things change? Or are you always going to wait till the last minute when you're stuck? You're on the phone and it's not ringing. If you tried to get a customer now, you'd be so hard up to do it, you'd be back soliciting and screw yourself again, so you're scared. You might got 10 dispatchers working for you at one time, right? And you still can't find nothing. Go and get another 20% of these dispatchers because they're all calling the same boards, same loads. So if you guys are like confused or you're having trouble, you don't understand. I mean, you don't have to always take it from me, but I mean, you really need to learn how to sell, learn how the difference between a carrier going after customers and then how the brokerage goes after customers, and then how you control the assets to be able to service the customers. It's not a free for all. You can't even afford to do a free for all. It's too much work to be able to do that. If your orientation is like 2 hours long, you can't keep drivers because your product sucks. You don't have the time, but you're already head deep in. I get it. I know Penny's mad at me right now because I got to call one of her clients because he's power only and he's in Denver, and he's got to get permits until he gets his plates, and then I'll help him after that. But you still see so many investors coming into this. How are you already in this as an investor without a plan to be able to cover your expenses, your loads, before your bills already start? Like, where did you not think about that before where did you not think about that before you started, right? Where? Like, how did you jump in so fast? How did you get caught up? How did you let this happen? How are you out there? Just running like that. Isn't it scary? Like, don't you think about your family, your house, your kids, your wife, the other businesses that you're going to affect from this if you don't have a plan? Like, everything needs to be laid out, from getting the customers in a timeline. How am I going to add the trailers? Where am I going to get trailers from? If I start and I'm going to have to do power only, will I go after customers with power only? Will I do fucking Great Dane, Wabash, and the dealerships? Or will I just stick on the low board? Or will I let some other dumbass that's doing the exact same thing I could be doing promise me something that'll work for a little bit until I lose a couple loads and then I can't afford to. And they say, hey, I tried. If you had a trailer, I could have did it better. I'm so sorry about that. But we knew that we could get you latched on because we could help you find power only, and you're too stupid to figure this out before you start, right? That it's a very important. Like you really need to, because some guys, if it's not a customer or something dedicated or like more consistent, you're going to lose $4,000 to $6,000 a month minus the dispatch, not including the dispatcher's fee, just because you have to pick up, you have to deliver, you have to pick up, you have to deliver, you have to trailer, all that stuff every 7 days, and almost you're going to lose a day. Everything has to be perfect, and half these guys don't know how to line up the loads to do that, or even research ahead in twos and threes to actually dispatch where you have trailers before trailers, because you only take trailers to area where there is more trailers, or those hubs, but they don't take times because we only look for the trailers on the load board. We don't know how to call ahead or network ahead or go to ecarriercheck.com and find all the people that have customers that have freight or that use power only, or the vendors that have them, just to ask them for their service, right? Anyways, I think I can breathe now. I can breathe through my back. That's why I talk so long. It's from all the years of training and doing stuff, You stick your fingers on your nose like this, hold your breath for hours. You breathe through your back. It's good for you. So, anyways, guys, replay the video, share the video everywhere. I just wanted to throw some more things about what's going on, that people need to be able to find you. You need to be networking. We could be in this for 6 months to 2 years. We don't know what's going to go on, but we know other countries are definitely affecting our freight over here. And while that's happening, if you don't get to customers, see, because when the brokers are throwing the freight around like they're doing and they're chopping the rates and the fuel's so high, the only thing they'll have to do is to go straight to the customer, like Deb said in the video, and fucking cut them out. Or unless there's too much work there and you can't, then you got to become a broker and get bigger. That's what you have to do. That's your answers. You have to learn to become that person, to do that. Not only to have the diversity of money and the more consistency, but to be able to grow your company. If you guys are one truck guys and that's all you want to do and everything, I don't know what to tell you. You know what I mean? Because it's going to be rough. Find a gig, find a customer. Hopefully it works with you. I get some backhaul, stay local, do more local. If you're not wanting to expand and do things, I mean, why did you get your authority? You only get your authority to run a business. That's what it's there for. You didn't really, I mean, one truck is great, but you're always one bad thing away from fucking up when you're one truck. So it's like, what are you going to do with that? What is your plan? What are you going to do with it? I mean, how many times are you going to replace a driver and use your money and hope to, before it fucks you up? How many times are you going to have your truck break down as an owner operator, as a carrier, one truck you drive with no extra money coming in before you dissolve your money? I mean, how are you going to do that and actually build a network and do all this stuff we teach in these classes and stuff just as one person? Who's going to help you? And who are you going to trust? Because you trust in all these people and they're just going to take your shit. The only thing you can do, talking from experience, they love it when you motivate them. Oh, they love it when you build them up. They love it when you give them everything and show up for training classes and teach them how to sell and do stuff and text blast and all of this networking stuff. But as soon as they have a doorway, that's how it works. And I guess that right there, folks, is why you guys are screwed over by brokers and the mega carriers got it, because we got 1.5 million carriers and like 80% of them are like 5,300 trucks or less or something like that. 90% of that's 20 trucks, and not one person could be on the same page because you don't educate yourself. You don't understand. Everybody's cutting everybody's throat. Not one person, even if we had transparency, you would still screw your neighbor. You know what I mean? Anyways, guys, that's one of the problems. That's why you got all these strikes out there and always certain people are out there. And then the people are out there, how do you trust them when you hear stories about them behind the scenes and you wonder about their agenda? You get these guys, you look at a lot of these guys that are out there running. I like them all, but How many of those guys actually own the trucking company are out there? Like, you know, you've seen a bunch in maybe Canada, I don't know. But I don't know. Sometimes I don't know on TV, but I see these guys that are out there that are doing all these videos, and they have one trucks. They're leased to somebody. They're in a lease purchase. They don't even own the trucks. They might have two trucks, but they're leased to somebody, or they're a veteran and just got out and they're a company driver. They don't have their own authority. They don't pay other drivers. They don't do any of that. But we seem to got lost and listen and follow the wrong people. The people that have agendas, you know. I think about all the time. Like literally, me and my wife were just talking about opening a new business yesterday, so I could start working on stuff and stop giving it away. And every day this week, I'm going to sit in this office and think about opening it on my own and showing people that part of it can be done by us too, all the way on our own. And it's going to be interesting. I'm almost there. I'm still on the fence a little 50-50, especially when I keep having a lot of customers calling in from the work that I've done. And when we start doing these live phone calls and calling real customers and these broker weeks and these freight sales training coming up, it's going to be so interesting to help carriers get real customers and know that scripts suck. Scripts are dumb. It's just an outline. If you don't know what you're talking about or how to sell or the product you're not confident in, you're not going to do anything. You're not going to do nothing at all. You all been lied to. Like you can't. It's so much harder than what you think. And the freight that you're getting, if you can nickel and dime it enough to pay your bills and get away with it, like the big old RFP list, God bless you, man. That's just too much work. But we're going to. We have a lot going on. So I hope you guys. I think people are tired of hearing me talk because I didn't take a breath to let people chime in. One of these days, I'll just shut up and I'll just shut up and let you guys just ask questions. I don't know if I can do that or not, but we'll try. And we'll just ask questions. We'll let you guys ask us questions and stuff because there's a lot going on. People really need to take time and understand that if you don't take charge of this today, you're going to lose it all tomorrow. And will you even be here when it comes back around? Will you have enough diversities, networking, research, multiple streams of income, relationships to keep you here that long? Especially if you're a one truck guy. So many people parking trucks, selling trucks, changing plans, bought the wrong equipment, got in the wrong way. And I feel you. I understand. I didn't even cuss that much in this video. It's crazy. But you guys take control of your business. Learn brokering, trucking, dispatching, all three of them together. Take the time to better your business. Do the homework. Stop worrying about brokers. I mean, if you know that you're going to be ahead in that town, you need to be doing research. And I get it. Everybody's got their brainwashed, themselves so brainwashed that you literally have no time to do any of this while you're on the road. I get it. I get it. Keep living with those excuses. Keep not putting yourself in the right position. Keep blaming it on everybody else but yourself because you won't step up and do the work and learn that you can ask for the work just like a broker and you actually own the truck. You own the truck. They don't own the truck. They want trucks, they go buy trucks. Just like the dispatcher. Dispatcher has nothing invested. More cowbells and cussing. I know it. Fucking dumbasses. Get your fucking asses in gear and fucking go and learn this shit. Don't be mad at Kenneth because he's at Prime knocking out 3 trucks, planning his shit out on his way out. And he's learning it the right way as he goes, stepping out one at a time while he's purchasing his trucks off. That's smart. Because when he comes out, he's doing it not to be one truck, to be a company. So many times do I see people like Stephen Murick come from Forward Air and all these places, my buddy Brent Wall, or all these guys that try to transition from a company where they already have 7 or 3 or 4 trucks. And they think they're going to walk right over to the other side and they have a plan. But you have no idea that how much of a rude awakening they get from the insurance and the diversities of it. It's still going to be more money than they ever had doing it the other way. It's just a process that they thought was one way or other. And it wasn't. It was all wrong. It's like so much different now. Just the expenses. Higher insurance, fuel, equipment. You do it all. No one's helping you. There's no safety net under. Man, well, I got to get back. I got an hour and a half, so I'm going to take off, guys. Hope everybody gets a chance to sign up for my boot camps coming up. If you guys have any questions about the boot camps, check the reviews, check the class. The 3 weeks of boot camps are like 70 some odd hours, and we're adding stuff every week. I added stuff on dispatching week. I'm adding the freight sales on broker weeks, which goes. Trucking week already has the wheel. It's freaking cool. And we're growing every week in our training. You know what I mean? And I understand it's scary right now. People, people have spent a lot of money. People have done stuff wrong. The numbers aren't there. You don't think it's going to turn around. But I get it. There's always help for you guys. My phone number's been listed. My personal cell phone has been listed right here on the front of the screen the whole time. You guys have no excuse not to call for help if you need it. And we have a bunch of people ready to help. We got people in trucking right now that have been doing it that were prior students, helping students. It's amazing. There's no pay platform or nothing. You just join the group, G3 Trucks and Freight or Shaggy's Consulting and Training. Make sure Frank's going live again tomorrow night in G3 Trucks and Freight group at, I think it's 7 Central, 8 Eastern. And I'm going to do something Wednesday night again. Probably I'll be back on talking somewhere around 8 o'clock. So we're going to talk about what's going on, things that you're running into about selling customers, problems that you're having, why you're scared to sell customers, what's stopping you as a 1 to 10 truck company of going after carriers. Why? Is there some fucking holy grail out there? There's fucking 10 commandments that says you fucking can't talk to customers, you bunch of sissies. Are you scared that you're going to step on somebody's toes? You know what I mean? And what's the whole free-for-all? You guys, can you imagine how fucked up it is right now with all the double brokers that were making a killing, the fucking dispatching services, and then the brokers with no experience right now? Oh my God, I bet they're losing their brains right now because nothing they knew was real. It was all fake, and we're all like, when's it going to change? I don't know. There's still lots of stuff moving, lots of gigs happening, lots of customers doing flowers and nursery, lots of things rolling. And we're just in a standstill, waiting for the rush to hit again. And it's going to, because the more and more they keep it piled up there, they got to make a living selling their shit somewhere, man. They can't keep it forever. Then maybe they can. Takes research to find that out, right? Or you can just sit on DAT or Freightways Sonar and hope that works out for you. When are you going to change your plan, man? Peace. Have a good one. Check us out. Share the video. Have a great day. And tell somebody how great they are. Be nice. Stop being stressed out. Go call your wife or your kids and chat for a minute. Take a breath. Think about what you're doing it for. Why you're doing it. Do you even have a plan? Most of you don't. 2-hour orientation, throw a driver in a truck, recruit another one, run on the low boards, hope it changes, use this guy, he's been doing good. It's everybody else's fault.